Welcome to the Code 3D online training modules. This tutorial will show you how to use the Properties panels in Code 3D. All of the objects, hazards, and characters in Code 3D have properties that can be adjusted to suit your scenario's needs. The Properties panel is where you decide how an item should look or behave. Different kinds of items have different properties and behaviors. When an object, hazard, or character is selected, the Properties panel is shown in the bottom right-hand side of the screen. Each object has unique properties. All objects can be named and positioned using the Properties panel. Some objects, such as buildings, vehicles, and ladders, have additional properties that can be changed. To change or view an object's properties, you first need to select that object in the scene. The Properties panel always displays the properties of the selected object. All properties of an object shown refer to that object's properties at a specific point in time. Editing an object's properties changes those properties for that time period, and the properties will remain the same for all future time points or until you change it again. To learn more about using the timeline, see the tutorial called Learning How to Use the Timeline. It is sometimes helpful to name your object when you place it into the scene. Code 3D automatically provides a default name, but providing your own name will help you keep track of multiple objects. To change this default name, click in the name box on the Properties panel. The box will turn green, and you can then type a new name. To save this change, press the Enter key. An object's name cannot change over time. Changing it at any point on the timeline will change the name for the entire scenario. You can also reposition your object, people, or hazards using the coordinate boxes in the Properties panel. This can be a useful way to align multiple objects along a specific plane or rotating the object so it will face a specific direction. To reposition an object, you will click in the positioning box you wish to edit. The box will turn green, allowing you to type a new value. To submit the change, press the Enter key. If you are unsure what each of the boxes does, you can roll your mouse over the box for a description. There may be a situation in which you want to make an object invisible at a certain time point. When you place an object into the scene, it is automatically visible at the time point and invisible at all previous time points. For more information on the timeline, please reference the timeline tutorial. To make an object that is visible invisible, you simply check the button in the Property panel to make the button invisible. If you find that you have recently changed a property of an object and you would prefer to undo that change, you can do this from the Property panel. Each property listed in the Properties panel has its own reset feature. If you do not like a change that you have made, you will click the red Reset button that is directly to the right of the property you wish to reset. Once you click the box, the property will revert back to its previous value. Some objects in the art library have different states for which that object can be in. For example, buildings can be normal or have a damaged look to them. To change the state of a selected object, you will select the radio button that corresponds to a desired state. All of your state changes will appear on screen, allowing you to determine what the object looks like in each of the various states. In the art library, you will notice that some of the buildings have windows and doors that can be opened or broken. These buildings are identified in the art library as having a small door icon in the corner of the building's icon. Each window and door of these buildings can be independently opened, broken, or closed. To do this, you will select the window or door on the building you wish to change. Once a window or door is selected, a new property panel will appear. From here, you may change the properties of that specific window or door by clicking on the radio button. Hazards such as fire, smoke, gas, steam, and leaks have specific properties which allow you to customize their behavior. Once a hazard is selected, you will notice the Property panel on the right-hand side of your screen. To change the rotation of the hazard, you can use the slider bar in the Properties panel. You can also use the rotation tool located beneath the hazard in the editor window. Each hazard has properties that are unique to it. These unique properties will affect the behavior of the hazard, such as the pressure, size, length and width, or transparency. Once a hazard is selected, you can use the slider bars in the Properties panel to adjust these properties. If you wish to use a number that is outside our slider's range, you can type that value into the corresponding property box and hit Enter to save the value. You will know the number is saved when the box is no longer green. Each hazard has a default color, but you are able to change that as well. To do so, you will click on the Color button. When you do this, a color selection window will open, and you can then select a color. If you wish to create a customized color, you can click the Define Custom Colors button for access to a full color chart. Once you have a color selected, click the OK button to submit the change. When you select OK, both the hazard and the color button will be the selected color. Characters in Code 3D can have a unique set of properties because they have different animation states. Characters can be standing, walking, vomiting, coughing, convulsing, dizzy, dead, or unconscious. Firefighters have additional properties that are specific to the profession, such as helmet and uniform colors. And having their SCBA mark on or off. To change a character's animation, you will select the desired radio button in the Properties panel. The character will continue with this animation until you stop or change the animation at a later time point. To learn more about timeline markers, please reference the timeline tutorial. As mentioned earlier, you can choose whether or not a firefighter is wearing an SCBA mask as well as the color of his or her uniform and helmet. To do this, you will select the firefighter you wish to change the appearance of, and then you can select your choices for the SCBA mask from the accompanying radio buttons. To change the uniform or helmet color, you will select an option from the drop-down menu.